right now at 6.
The Severe Weather Alert Team is tracking more winter weather on the way for the weekend. What you need to know to plan ahead.
Plus, a project set to cost taxpayers millions now needs more money. Find out where they plan to get it. And a council report drives concern about bacon prices, with experts saying there's nothing to fear. We're breaking down the supply of bacon and pork in Montana.
Live in high definition, this is NBC Montana News at 6.
Right now, the roads in western Montana are dry, but there's a warning. There's more winter weather on the way. Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Fettfei.
And I'm Laurel Staples. This time, it'll be hitting people who saw less snow earlier this week. Meteorologist Matt Gray has been tracking the snow all day. Matt.
That's right, and our snow today was a bit of a dud, but we are expecting more, and yes, in places that have not seen it so far this week, like the Flathead. New winter weather advisories now in place. They will go into effect tomorrow and will go all the way through Sunday. So we're talking about the whole weekend. And this extends all the way from Salmon, Idaho, north into northwest Montana with winter storm warnings on the Idaho side of Lookout Pass. The risk here, long duration snowfall. Not anything particularly heavy, but you have a decent amount of snowfall over the course of 3 days, and that'll add up pretty quickly. And then the possibility in southern parts of the area of freezing rain, which means all these dry roads around the area, they're not going to be that way for much longer, probably less than 24 hours. We're also tracking some pretty cold conditions for tonight. We'll have more on that coming up.
And when you're away from your television set, you can still be updated on the travel reports by following the road condition link on our website, nbcmontana.com. We're following up today after we reported Northwestern Energy customers' utility bills increased because of an increase in the company's property tax.
And today, the State Revenue Department defended claims by regulatory officials and lawmakers that it's taken advantage of Montana law. Our Christopher Salas spoke with the Department of Revenue. Christopher.
Yeah, that's right. The law allows Northwestern Energy to pass up to 60% of its property tax increases on to customers. But the agency that regulates utilities thinks the way the Revenue Department assigns property tax to utility companies is arbitrary and hurts customers. So we asked the Revenue Department to explain how they do their job. And here's what we found. 3 approaches come into play when assigning property tax: income, market, and cost. A recent $880 million purchase of multiple dams across the state contributed to that. So did the money Northwestern made and its share price, as well as its balance sheet. The Department of Revenue fired back after some accused them of using the utility companies as their, quote, cash cow.
That's just not true. Our obligation is just to arrive at market value. We have no directive, no requirement by law, anything that says we need to maximize or increase Northwestern Energy's or any company's value to maximize tax. We just don't do that.
The Public Service Commission also says utility companies are decentivized from challenging the Department of Revenue's ruling. The department responded by saying a lot of companies do, and they've had appeals go to the Supreme Court. Reporting in Kalispell, Christopher Salas, NBC Montana.
New tonight, Montana legislators are looking to crack down on the state's meth problem. Senators Eric Moore, a Republican from Miles City, and Diane Sands, a Democrat out of Missoula, talked with NBC Montana today about more meth making its way into the state, and they announced plans for the Montana Meth Summit. It's a listening session to learn what the state agencies are seeing when it comes to meth use and how agencies can help get a handle on this dangerous drug.
You know, this is a poison that's infecting our state, and I'm not talking about cyanide gold leaching or the Berkeley pit or pesticides. We're talking about methamphetamine. It's touching every aspect of our state, both financially and, more important, personally.
This destruction on families has been just tremendous. It's adding more people than we need to the criminal justice system.
The summit is scheduled for Saturday, February 18th, and it will be held in the old Supreme Court chambers in Helena. The public is invited to listen.
Today, St. James Healthcare Center in Butte says that they are limiting visits from friends and family because the flu is spreading in the community. Right now, no visitors under the age of 18 are allowed, and no one with a cough or fever is allowed to visit patients. The restrictions are temporary, and people are being encouraged to call or send cards to patients while the restrictions are in effect. If you don't feel well, you're asked not to visit patients. If you must visit, you may be asked to wear a mask and wash your hands.
We're following up now on the Missoula Library project. It turns out that the library still needs to fundraise about $2 million just to finish the project.
And that's on top of the $30 million passed by voters to build the new library and $3 million from donations. The new library will be moved here. It's part of a land swap. The homes from this block will be torn down and the people who live here, they will be moved. The total cost for the new library, $35 million passed by voters and almost entirely paid for by property owners. It will include more books, parking, and community space.
It's definitely worth it. We moved here recently from Bozeman, where they built a new library while we were living there, and it's used so much. It's so nice to have a big usable library space, right. And I think Missoula could really use it. Right.
The director of the Library Foundation says the apartments will be torn down sometime this year. The final project is slated for completion in 2020.
Right now, crews with the University of Montana's forestry program are putting final touches on the 100th annual Foresters Ball.
But new this year, organizers added a beer garden, a controversial move after a major university push in 2012 to eliminate alcohol, and this after heavy partying and consumption before and during the ball. Then President Royce Engstrom proposed a breathalyzer test for all attendees, but ultimately backed off that idea. So we asked why the change this year.
In doing that, we started to see a lot of people essentially pre-gaming and binge drinking before the event. And that became really, really problematic.
To us, it just seemed like a better idea to control what was going to be here because we can't control the public.
The university hired a local bar to handle crowd control, and organizers tell us alcohol served in the beer garden won't be allowed in the ball.
And we sent our Montana McLaughlin to get an inside look, not only at the beer garden, but also what it takes to put this event together.
Put on your hard hats and get ready, because in less than a day, this room will be unrecognizable as the Schreiber Gym transforms into a turn-of-the-century logging town.
It's a 100-year-old tradition. There's nothing else like it anywhere in the world that we've been able to find.
We spend a year planning for this, and then it takes a little shy of a week to build it, and we get 24 hours to make it look like we were never here.
Scrap wood now littering the floor will disappear just in time for nearly 1,000 people to dance in celebration of UM's long history of forestry and conservation. Nearly all of the wood is donated or reused from past years.
Our saloon was built in, I believe, 1976.
Kate Page is the ball's chief push, a term coined from old mining towns.
You've got a person in charge of folks and they're pushing them to get work done.
Kate oversees the attractions, including a saloon, chapel, a jail, and a museum paying homage to the event's 100-year history. And new this year, a beer garden.
So our general store is built by the Woodsman team. And then we have our photo booth, which is where people go in there and get their professional pictures taken and printed out.
You can even make a grand entrance down the wooden slide. The slide is so labor intensive, they only build it every other year.
So the Foresters Ball is, I think, an integral part of the University of Montana community, the College of Forestry and Conservation community, and really the Missoula community.
As crews work tirelessly, literally, their work is cut out to bring the ball full circle before Friday night's kickoff. In Missoula, Montana McLaughlin, NBC Montana.
Cost of a ticket is $35 a person, $60 for a couple, and there are about 1,000 tickets available, but we're told it will sell out. All of the proceeds go to a scholarship fund for the students who help produce the Foresters Ball.
Still ahead on the news at 6, a small Ohio report sparks fear of a bacon shortage. We speak to Montana pork producers who say there's nothing to fear.
Plus, the Severe Weather Alert team is tracking more winter weather. It's on the way for the weekend. What you need to know coming up after the break.
He ran a paper route, shoveled snow, worked the night shift. Neil Gorsuch took that discipline to academics, excelling, earning scholarships and awards. He began a legal career, helping a new firm launch, until public service called and he joined the Department of Justice. Then, at a young age, he was